just with my logic, because a lot of people always try to, throw a book at me, and I'm like, yo, I am a book. I know this stuff.
You
And
have this
it's
life experience going on here. You can't
yeah,
take it
and they think it's propaganda that I'm following. I'm like, no, I don't follow propaganda. That's one thing I do not do. I study, I show thyself approved, and then I put logic to it, because that's what we have. We have discernment, we have intuition, and it has to resonate. So things had resonated with me, but with my own issues, at the end of the day, I realized sugar was my downfall. Even though I didn't have cavities, thank God.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, you have great teeth.
yeah, it was bones, everything else, so as a young girl, I used to eat a bunch of sugar. Candy, bring a big, giant, bulky bag of Skittles to school and Starburst, and it's this big. It wasn't the regular size bag. It was like the Halloween bag, the one you put in grandma's candy jar and fill it all the way up. And I would come
You
back
carried
home.
around a bucket year round. You're like, no.
Yeah, it was less than just a school day around. And I would, and as I
Mm,
grew older, I was like, dang, you did that? Like, and I was doing it consistently. So it
yeah.
caught up with me. It caught up with me. And this is the stuff that I be telling people, this is how we fall apart around age 30, 32, and it's too young, but the body is like, yeah, you damaged my premature organs when I was doing, you was a baby, our parents want to give us the craziest, sweets and stuff soon as when we turn 1 years old, because they think that's love. And in reality, it's not, and we think it is, but the body's like, that's not love. You're hurting me, and our body is not mature yet. So when I turned 25, and get into that older age where I start just deteriorating, doctors couldn't figure nothing out. I was like, why these people can't figure out what's wrong with me? I was losing my eyesight. I had a pain in my side that was just constant every day for 5 years straight. Every single day of my life, I was suffering with that pain for 5 years straight. It would not go away. It felt like I was ovulating every day. And I went to the doctor. They did all kind of scans on me, all kind of CAT scans and ultrasounds, everything. They even cut on me to see what was going on and still couldn't find anything. But around that same time, I was suffering with my eyes, simultaneously. My eyes were getting blurry. I was getting floaters. I was getting stuff, gunked up in my eyes. I wasn't seeing things well. I was always like, waking up with puffy eyes. It was bad. And the doctors kept giving me solutions. And I'm like, I'm holistic. I don't want nothing going in my eyes. And at
Yeah.
this point, I felt, cornered. But after a while, I realized it wasn't helping. So I just gave up, and I succumbed to the pains that I was dealing with. My back was blowing out, like over a course of 5 years. My back blew
And
out
you're
three
fit.
times.
Like you're a fit person. You're not
Not at that time, I wasn't. I was prior to my kids, but at that time, I was not fit, because I was struck. I was fit, but I didn't realize the inflammation that my body was holding on to was the
that's what I
biggest
mean.
reason
You
why.
probably couldn't recognize it 'cause I call it skinny fat. People
Yeah,
are always like,
yes,
"Oh,
yes,
you're skinny. Oh, you must be
yes.
in great shape." And you're like,
No,
no,
no, and
not
it,
at all."
when those knees hurt, and those that foot hurt, and you can't stand for I couldn't stand for no more than 3 minutes after a while. I was
Right?
suffering. My knees were
Skinny fat.
just
It's the
blowing out
thing.
on me. Everything was bad. Everything was so bad. My skin wasn't as vibrant, as it is right now, but I was having too many issues, and the doctors couldn't help me at all. They couldn't help me. So spiritually, at the end of the day, I felt like God gave me all. And I know, people are not religious. I'm not religious either. I'm a spiritual person.
Mhm.
I recognize, the powers that be. But I felt like all the pains that everybody can encounter, the most basic pains that everybody can encounter, was laid up on me, so I can go ahead and fix my issues, so I can find a way to help other people fix their simple issues, because
Yeah.
they're simple, but in reality to them, they seem very detrimental, because they can't get out of it. They got to take medication for it. And I'm
Yeah.
not a medication type of person, medication don't work with me at all,
It doesn't
and
work.
it
Yeah, it
doesn't work,
doesn't
and it
work.
upsets, it causes all kind of side effects and all kind of stuff. So I suffered. I didn't want to take nothing, because I didn't want to suffer somewhere else. I had a very bad sugar issue, very, 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 very bad sugar. And of course, it started when I was young. So it was to the point where I was feeding everybody healthy, but I wasn't feeding myself right. And I was eating snacks when I'm fixing these beautiful course meals and stuff. And at the end of the day, I went to the kitchen one day and I said, I'm in trouble. I was like, I'm in trouble. I said, I need help. I cried out. I was like, God, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. I need help. I don't know what to do because I couldn't stop eating sugar and my
Mm,
stomach was hurting at the same time.
mm,
So 2 days later, that pain that I was suffering with every day went up to like a level 3, a level 10. And it didn't come down for 2 days. And I had babies with no epidural. So I
No,
was
yeah, you're
pain
like, I'm
tolerant.
built for this. Yeah.
Yeah, I was tolerant, but that pain wasn't tolerable anymore because I'm like, nothing's coming out of me. And it felt like
Right.
something's
There's
about to
no
pop.
reward.
Yeah, so and it felt like my body was about to just explode, down in that area. So when I was with my kid's father, he was like, take a Motrin. And I was like, I'll do anything because I don't want to go to the emergency room because all
Yeah.
they're gonna do is just send me back and say, go see your primary, and here we go again with the same old thing that I've been dealing with for 5 years.
My
So
first question is, when you started your holistic practice, what did you notice as a repeat pattern in all your patients that you're
the
working with?
well, the repeat is everybody's dealing with sugar. They're inflamed. They're
Mm,
inflamed either through the foods that they eat mainly, and it's either carbs or sugars. Some people, it's a very small amount of people who are, complaining, saying they don't eat sugars and stuff like that, and they're dealing with some other kind of issues, but about 85-90% of the people are like inflamed. And
gotcha.
that's that whole sugar monster thing, where everything changed. That's where it changed for me, and I realized sugar is the problem. Mhm.
And then just to put in perspective, is sugar in everything?
Sugar is glucose is in pretty much everything. It pretty much, there's I would say because our body needs energy. That's how we get
Mhm,
our energy. But the problem is how it's being given to the body.
gotcha.
And we're receiving it from things that we're not really looking for sugar from. And that can be like breads, pastas, carbs. People are like, I don't eat sugar, so but what else are you eating that breaks down to a sugar? And the
Yeah.
body is saying, I don't want that kind of sugar. That's not the kind of sugar I'm looking for. You're giving me a refined sugar. You're doing this, that, and the other. And this is where overconsumption of it is. And then people are finding out that, they're dealing with these side effects that sugar causes, which is inflammation, you know.
Gotcha. So knowing that, once you sort of had a repeat offender in your wheelhouse of clients where you're just like, okay, this seems to, what do you do first when you start a plan with your clients? What is goal
Detox,
one?
detox,
Detox. What's
detox.
detox look like?
Um, that's a good question because a lot of people misunderstand that one. They think, oh, I've detoxed for 3 days, I've detoxed for, I've did a flush out of my system, and that's that a flush and a detox is not the same thing. And the question is, are you doing a real detox? A detox is supposed to go into the body and then pull all impurities out. And a lot of times it does not last for 7 days. It is like and it took you years and years to get to that point, and it's not going to take overnight for you to get. Now, in my situation, what my product did for me, it even though it was working on detox, and the first cup that I've taken actually changed my whole life, but it didn't mean that I was detoxed. It just
Right.
meant like I'm working on detoxing you, and it gave me a very quick response immediately to let me know I am working and you're going to stick to it just because you see a difference. And a huge difference was that pain in my side went away. So after I did it for like I think 2 months or so, my whole body was reset. And that's the epitome of a detox. Everything's supposed to be reversed, and you feel the reverse. So when people get detox and they get it from off these shelves, they think that a simple flush is a detox, and that's a flush. That's just moving stuff away. So what I would say to people is think about like a toilet bowl. You have a dirty, dirty toilet bowl. It's very scummy. And you got water in the bowl. The water is clear. And you use the toilet. Let's just say you put tissue and some urine in there, or whatever the case is. And let's just say you put a little droppings in there too, or whatever. Now that it's all dirty, and when you flush it, it turns clear again. But at the end of the day, the scum is still on the bowl. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, did you really, you flushed? You didn't detox. You didn't go in, put some gloves on, or put some Comet in that bowl and scrub those walls, clear those pores so the
Mm-hmm.
bowl can be porcelain and pretty again. And that's the difference between a detox and a flush. Because when you detox, you descum all of that stuff. And this is why when people do a flush, they still in pain. And then when they try to eat healthy, they're wondering why they're still in pain. I do eat healthy. I do eat this. I do eat that. I don't eat this. I don't eat that. And the question is, when was the last time you did a detox? Because if
Mm-hmm.
you still have scum on you, your body is feeding off that scum.